Welcome to Driven for Health. And today is a special one, episode 37. I wanted to bring on a guest. This gentleman, Dr. Ryan Wohlfert, has been in the industry for 25 plus years. He is a spine specialist. He has thousands of corrected spines, right? Let's get them straight, tall, not bent or weird or painful, right? That's a big common one. And today we're going to go over some of how he goes through working on spines, how he helps identify and give corrective behaviors for people to start fixing their spines immediately. We'll go through some tips and tricks today, even that he'll give us some really good insights to sit taller or stand taller, pull those shoulders back, right? All those things that we obviously know, but don't ever do. And he'll be able to fill in some gaps and make it easier to actually apply. And I want to welcome Dr. Ryan to our show today. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate it.
Yep. I know that we talked a little bit before we started recording, but you had a pretty good statistic that really should catch some people's attentions. What was that?
The most common reason people notice their spine or back is because they have pain. A big reason for that is because it's under constant stress without you even knowing it. With that constant stress, just gravity in general, what can happen, especially if it's not in the appropriate alignment or structure, a strong structure to withstand the gravity, which I'll show you in a minute, like what it should be, but then what we do see is it starts breaking down. It accelerates the degeneration. So by the age of 20, this was a study that a doctor did. It showed that almost 40% of people already have physical signs of breakdown, of degeneration of those discs and of the joints in the spine.
Yep.
So almost 40% of people in their 20s.
Yep.
And when you're above 50, it's 80%.
Oh my gosh. Now, to help people understand, what is disc degeneration? Is this just, oh, my back hurts? Or is that we know there's synovial fluid inside the disc. Is that squirting out or something? Or is it deflating? Or what is?
So what that means is arthritis is the common word for it. So arthritis means, okay, it's actively causing you pain.
Yeah.
When it's not actively causing you pain, because not all like cartilage breakdown, because that's what the cartilage is, the cushioning between the joints that allows the joints to slide nice and smoothly. But then the cartilage also makes up the discs of the spine, like between the bones, to give the cushioning, but then also the space so the nerves can come out between the bones. So what happens is with degeneration, now it gets narrower. Now there's less space. So you might feel pain or you might not. Call it the perfect design, because we don't want to feel. We can handle a certain amount of dysfunction, but once it gets bad enough to where our brain recognizes, all right, this is too bad, this is too much, then it can start causing pain. That's when we call it arthritis. But the degeneration is the breakdown of the cartilage. Like some people might say, I can hear the grinding when I turn my neck or move rotate my spine, or in the knees, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That is in general a good sign, or a helpful sign that says, okay, you probably have arthritis or degeneration.
Now, when someone is coming to you, what are some of the sign symptoms that they start saying, the audible symptoms of the pain? What are the call out points that people should be aware of, especially when it comes to spinal health?
Well, pain is the most obvious one that people recognize.
Is this soreness, or is this sharp? Someone stabbed me.
That's a great question. And I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not necessarily just, okay, I lifted something, now it's spasming, I can't move. Most of the time, it's the soreness, it's the stiffness and tightness, like you're losing mobility. Those are all like painful type on the spectrum of pain. Yeah. So yes, those are usually the most common ones, is like the stiffness, the soreness, the tenderness in the muscles, because the muscles are an indicator that there's something wrong with the spine. Not that, okay, that is the actual problem, but the muscles react to what your spine is doing. I want everybody to keep this in mind as we go through this. What we say is the spine, it's the foundation of your strength and function of the body. Why? Because The spine gives us our structure. The spine has like all these little attachments for the muscles.
Right.
Well, number one, that allows the muscles to work efficiently and with strength. On top of that, it gives us our strength because when everything is aligned with gravity, now it's strong against it. We don't have to keep fighting it.
Right.
Okay. But when it's not, then the muscles have to go into overtime and you get those knots in the muscles, you get the stiffness, you get the tightness.
Right.
And also, it's the foundation of function because what controls everything in the body? The brain.
Right.
So
Right.
the brain controls all function of the body. It does it by sending energy, signals, communication down through the spinal
Ner-
cord, and the spine protects the spinal cord. So if it's nice and aligned, there's minimal stress on the spinal cord. But when it gets distorted or bent or twisted or rounded and kyphotic, that hunchback type posture, head goes forward, now it stretches the spinal cord like a rubber band. Gets
Right.
tense, it gets tight, and that energy can't move freely through something like that. And you might feel pain, but you also might have maybe low energy and fatigue. Maybe your mood isn't as good, and that's an interesting one too.
Yeah.
Like studies have shown like that they've had people like slump and then sit up straight and like tested the words that they use and their outlook on life. And
Yeah.
actually, when you have poor posture, it decreases your outlook on life. It worsens your mood.
Tony
But
Robbins, interject here real quick. Tony Robbins, I love him. Right? He's the self-help, self-personal
yeah,
development guru ever, right? And I actually went to two of his seminars. I'm a walker and all, but and one of the things, this was memorable. This was good 18 years ago now, but I was sitting in his seminar. He said, "Sit up," and this guy, you see his front facing, but then when you get into his back, he's very loud. Not that he isn't, right? He's just a big person and big persona, but he gets in your face and sit up, everyone, and I want you to get an extra inch taller right now, and everyone's is in their seat and they're just going like this, trying to get up that extra little bit, but there was a noticeable difference, and the reason he did that was to call our attention to everyone slouching, and we're not getting that energy that's going through us. And that extra inch gives us more energy because the nerves can flow electrical pulses through us, but also it gives you more confidence. And then what you're specifically saying is the words and the things that you think about are directly tied to your anatomy and how you think and feel and move yourself in the space. And then also, lastly, is that it reflects on how other people see you. If I'm over here like this, rounded forward, and I'm talking like this, you're like, Brian, I can't even see your face, dude. It's like you got a black nose here. What's going on? And I get up here, and I'm a lot more present and visual, and then I have more presence in this rectangle box that I'm viewing in, right?
so in men, we want to be confident, right? We want to be strong, and that gives us our well, fake it till you make it. Sometimes I don't
Sometimes,
want to say illusion of confidence. The more you do it, the more that you become that. I mean that's a huge one for us as men. In the one I want to end on with this little part of this is yes, pain, fatigue, our mood. But what's also been shown is with our spine in a distorted position, especially that rounded head forward position, that's been shown to actually significantly increase the risk of death from heart disease, pulmonary function, and actually all causes.
oh
And
yeah,
they've shown this in multiple studies because of the effect that it has on our breathing, the effect that it has on our heart. And just do the simple test right now. You slouch down with your head forward,
right.
take a deep breath in,
There's a
out,
pressure in my lungs.
and then sit up straight
A
and do
lot
it.
easier
And
to
it's a
breathe.
lot easier. So think about 18 hours a day
Like
where you're
thousands
in
of
that
breaths
position,
in a slump
you're not getting
position.
the oxygen, you're not getting the energy throughout the body. And
Yep.
we don't
And
think
what
about
he's
it,
it
right?
just signals there is that you're probably watching this and you're not getting enough sleep either. And that's why he said 18 hours, not 16 hours, because we know that you should be getting 8 hours of sleep, but you're probably
That's
getting six or less. And that impacts your energy, your mood, your physique, your
yeah.
confidence, all those things. And it could just come back to sleep. And posture can be two simple solved cures that are free, cheap, and easy to do to get you
Mhm.
in the right direction, gentlemen. Pay attention.
And the thing is, and we'll talk about this as we go on, is sometimes we need extra help because we can't think about our posture 16 to 18 hours a day,
No.
right? It's got to be automatic.
Right.
And that's where people think, okay, I'm just going to do exercises, which is important
Right.
to help my posture. But what I also want to, get you to think about is this: is your spine, or I'm sorry, your posture. It's a window to your spine and nervous system. Your spine and nervous system give you your posture. Your muscles kind of react to what your spine and nervous system does.
Right.
So we have to address not, yes, with corrective postural exercises, but also the other aspects of how we're moving throughout the day. And we'll get into like
Right.
my Eaton method of how we do that to help retrain the spine, not just the muscles, but the nerves
Right.
and the ligaments of the spine. So that's why it's so huge of yes, we want to have awareness of our posture, but we can't be thinking about it every
Right.
waking
Right.
hour. It
You're not
has to
going
be
to think about
automatic.
breathing and
Yep,
blinking your
exactly.
eyeballs. These are automated
Yeah.
processes that have to happen in the body to live and
Mhm.
interact. Two
Yep.
things I want to call out. One is the bowling ball, the cabeza. I've got a big one. My wife is had 4 C-sections because of it. She's blaming it on me. But when we are, I'm gonna get to the side here trying to talk, but when we're here, what's the significance of this I don't know, 8-pound head or whatever, the bowling ball up here,
Yep.
every inch or centimeter forward in that interior position? What is the significance on your, yeah, just the weight that it imposes on your spine and the muscles, the how it impacts the stretching of the muscles and how that impacts how you feel, and maybe it could be completely directly related to why you have migraines or headaches a lot, things like that. Let's talk about that because
Yeah.
in our screen driven
Yep.
society, and we'll certainly talk about that little rectangle that everyone holds in their hands too. It's
Yeah.
on your posture, but jump into the head, the cabeza.
So, yes, 10 to 12 pounds is about the average size of the head. And for every inch forward of neutral adds 10 pounds of extra pressure to the spine. So, again, a simple test: take a 10-pound weight, arm's length out away from you. You're going to feel your muscles working a lot harder than if it's up against your body. That's a good, little test to do just to
Knew he'd
put
know
in your
this.
head how
I know.
important
That's
that
why
is.
I asked him. I didn't. We didn't talk about this. This is springing this on him. So he's
Yeah.
good. He knows his stuff.
Let's say your head weighs 10 pounds. So if it's an inch forward, well, your body feels like it's lifting an extra 10 pounds, so like 20 pounds.
Right.
It, I've done thousands of x-rays of people's spines and measured how far it is. We measured in millimeters because it's easier
Sure.
that way. 5 millimeters is about an inch.
Okay.
I mean, typically we find, again, people coming to me, typically they have some sort of spinal issue, so it's probably going to be a little bit worse. But with the society that we live in and the activities that we're doing, look at kids nowadays. They're
Oh yeah.
getting that forward head posture.
Yep.
So we're seeing
You're going to be in business for
yeah,
25 more years, huh?
one to 1 to 2 inches minimum that we're
Minimum.
seeing
Yeah.
forward.
What he's
And
saying is it's good 10, 20 plus pounds of pressure on your neck muscles, which probably aren't designed to carry that type of
right.
load. They're good for stacking. And the second thing I wanted to call was bone on bone, not
Mhm.
like your knees bone on bone, but stacking your muscles or your joints in a way where they're doing this. Think of a shoulder press. And back when I owned it was a personal trainer, I owned gyms, we would talk about bone on bone structure to be able to support the weight. And say an overhead press, we wanted that barbell straight up over your ears and your arms as close to your ears as possible, because then you have a very strong supported bone structure that the muscles were able to then fully, you know, give their lift more weight and all. And that was something we'd all, and then if even if you a little bit forward because it was heavy and they
Mhm.
position themselves and all of a sudden they're doing this, it's like an incline bench press. We're not up overhead supporting it, that bone on bone structure. So that was the second one. So let's go into the neck muscles and the impact that 10, 20 pounds of pressure all day long has on someone.
Well, it puts the chronic strain on the muscles. So puts a it's not like you're, acutely straining it, it's a chronic strain over time.
Right.
That's where it gets confusing to
And
people
so
where
Yeah, tell what would be an
So
example?
acute means like lifting something heavy, or you get in an accident, or you
Okay.
a
So we have
fall,
that,
whiplash type
or
thing.
maybe a neck tweak where you just
Yeah,
turn your head and you tweak it and you,
right,
"Oh, I can't move my
right,
neck," right?
and
Like
it's
that would be an
exactly.
acute type thing where all of a sudden, for lack of a better term, a trauma happened to that musculature and causing it to tighten up and create a
Mhm,
lot more pain because the muscle was injured in some capacity.
correct.
So we
Yeah,
have that as an acute thing that will definitely give you a headache and for more than one day. But then we have this chronic, just this crescendoing of stress and crescendoing of pain that it just slowly, 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 it's like, "Oh, my neck, pain in the neck," right? That's why they
mhm,
say, because it's just this thing that just shows up over time.
right, and that's where it's confusing to a lot of people because they didn't do anything to cause it. I hear that
Right.
all the time. I didn't do
"Why did
anything
I
different.
bend over and try and pick this thing up, and then I
Right,
can't move anymore," right?
yeah,
You probably have
and
seen a lot of people
it's
walking
be
in all
yeah,
bent over, and that's that chronic strain usually that's
yeah,
built over time.
and it's because of it is over time, and it's because of it's in this chronic position or chronic strained position where it's inefficient. And you mentioned the bone on bone. Well, you want the bone on bone stacked. Correct, because that allows the muscles to have their most efficient, strong position to
Yeah.
work from when the alignment is lined up. So
Yes.
yeah, it's chronic. It's the chronic strain, the chronic stress that's on the muscle that gets people, a lot of people like confused about why they have pain one day and they
Right.
didn't and they
Did
didn't
nothing
do anything
change.
to cause it,
Yeah, right?
even though they're predisposed to it because of the postures that
Right.
they're in every day.
Right, and let's jump into that. What are the positions or the postures or the sequencing of nature that happens to this crescendo of wow, way up? So we started way down here, if you can see me in the video, and then we got way up here, and now all of a sudden, bam! Wow, this hurts, and then I have to go see Dr. Ryan because I can't bend over or function or turn my head anymore. I have splitting headaches all the time, and I'm just popping Advil like it's candy. So,
Mhm.
what are some of those body positions or what causes all that over time?
So, I mean, what the general term is stress
Yeah,
over time, but it's think about it in terms of, the umbrella term is stress, but then you have physical stress that you put your body in, whether it's something, again, something traumatic or something over time, looking at the computer, sitting down, sleeping up on prop pillows, driving in a hunched over position,
right.
shifting, sitting on one side more than the other, shifted off to one side. That's like physical type things, or again, lifting something heavy, being in like a motor vehicle collision, or even just falling down on the ice, right? Then there's chemicals.
Unfortunately,
Yep.
speaking of that, I did fall
Mhm.
down on ice. I was trying to
Okay.
drag today. I was trying to drag my overly heavy trash can across the ice, and the fulcrum point on the wheels was really weird. I had to
Yep.
pull it lower down, and I was from a standstill and trying to get it, and all of a sudden my shoes go whoop, and then I didn't fall. The thing didn't fall on me, but
You
I'm
felt,
left
yeah.
stuck in the middle of, and it's raining out too, so it's
Yeah.
wet and it's icy and my feet slipped and I'm just laying on the ground. And fortunately, I had a Carhartt thing on this overall
Mhm.
and I was just got wet, but I was just like, ah, like,
Eh,
oh my gosh. So I'm okay. Maybe I could
good.
foam roll a little
So
bit,
that can
things
start the
up, but
cascade
yes,
right there,
exactly.
where you might get a little sore,
Right.
and that might throw the posture off, which in a second we'll go over, like, how can you identify if you're like, what your
Right.
posture is like and how far it's off, it is off, and then what you can do about it. But so, yeah, there's the physical stress like that, chemical stress, like what we're putting into our body or not putting into our body that we shouldn't,
Real quick,
that accelerates the
food is
breakdown.
chemicals,
Yep.
okay? That's all that it is. It's just a combination of
Yeah.
different elements and bonds of things that create this plant or this
Mhm.
protein or this fat or this sugary carb thing that's everywhere and always
Yeah.
now.
And I love that you said that food is chemicals, because that's one of the examples I use for people is when they are confused again, wondering like, how can food help my pain levels? How can food
Right.
ho and I say, "Well, do you take Advil or ibuprofen or drugs?" "Well, yeah," like, "That's a chemical, so
Right.
how is that helping your pain?" That food is just a different form of that and a healthier version
Right.
to use it to
Well,
our
both
advantage.
ways though, right? It can be
Mhm.
healthy or it can cause, I think both of
Right.
us thinking the same
That's
word. It starts with a giant I and FLM
yep.
inflammation from the food you eat, or you take the Advil or the ibuprofen to reduce that. If you were
Yep.
healthy, you would take an omega-3 supplement.
Right.
But if you're not paying attention and just like my neck hurts all the time, you're probably likely to pop an NSAID.
So yeah, and the last one we already kind of touched on it with the mood is mental or emotional stress can start the can contribute to our posture getting distorted and deformed,
Right,
which again causes changes in the spinal structure.
right.
So that's how these things happen. That's how we can get pain, maybe not right away, but it leads to that painful inflammatory process that now shows up as in your body, in your
Disorder.
joints, in your
Right.
muscles. And I know when we talked about this previously is, pain isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Pain can be a blessing because it spurs you because it's the thing people hate to be in pain, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want
yeah.
people in pain.
Yeah, you
And,
and I
and
both see a lot of people
yeah,
that are in pain. Some event happened,
yeah,
and I need to take corrective behavior
yeah.
now because it's painful and I want to get out of pain. And that's all humans are looking for is the fastest, easiest way out
Yeah.
of pain. And one real quick I want to touch before we move too far away, but mental health, because that's an undertone of things that I'm going to be bringing on other guests around mental health because I believe men are in their 40s struggling on some level. They're provide you have a bunch of kids and I have a bunch of kids and then we have to provide and make money and you're juggling literally my life right now is I do this or I do that. And that's it. And in today's age, this is 6, 7, right? So,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
it's either this or that. So I have all this strain and this mental health struggle of, do I spend time with my kids or do I work or do I stay up late or do I cut out my workout because I'm too busy to get all these things done? I have to go sit at a 2+ hour swim event tonight and then I have to go I drop my kids off and I have to go pick them up. That's 4-ish hours roughly, plus or minus of time that I can't work in a sense to then provide for my family. And I have a very strong providership feel, and then it creates stress and mental health. And I just want to throw out here what's the Mother Nature's best remedy for improving mood, improving posture? It's movement. You get up and walk and you breathe deep and you get some sunshine in your eyeballs and you feel the wind on your face and then you feel better and that starts its own cascade of
Yeah.
opportunity to improve. So what are some self-assessment things that we can look at,
Yeah.
call out, and we'll be moving through here. We got about 10ish minutes to
Yeah.
wrap
Yeah.
up.
We're gonna
So
bust through
let's
this pretty
let's
fast.
go.
Yeah. So let's your posture. How do you if your posture's off? We look at the posture from front to back, and then also side to side. Front to back, we want everything straight up and down. We want your if you look at in a mirror, because you can do this in a mirror looking
Yeah.
straight ahead, is you want the middle, like your glabella, it's called, right between your
Your third eye,
eyebrows or your
right?
nose. Let's just say your nose
Yeah.
for ease sake. Your nose. Sometimes people have crooked nose. That's hard to do. But nose, middle of your chest or your breastbone, and
Right.
then middle of your pelvis or your pubic bone,
Yeah.
with your feet about hip width or like shoulder width apart.
And we could even
We
throw
want
the
those.
belly button in there too. It should
Yeah,
be hopefully in line
we
with the
want that
pelvis too.
all lined up.
Right.
Now, how do you know if you're off in that way? So look to see, okay, is your head, because posture is not just about the roundedness, it's your head can be shifted side to side, not
Even
necessarily bent all the
even this
time,
a little
but
bit.
I have a long neck so I can get in these different postures. Is your nose lined up with your chest? Is your chest lined up with your belly button, with your pubic bone? A way you can see if your trunk is shifted one way or the other is one, yes, is one shoulder lower than the other, but this is one I love is look at just having your arms rested down by your side. Is there a gap? I call it the armed hip gap. Is there a gap between where your arm is and your hip? Is it
Yeah.
more on one side than the other? If
Right.
it is, that means you're probably shifted to one side or the other.
Right.
Sometimes it's a scoliosis. Sometimes it's not. It doesn't have to be a scoliosis. It could be what we call a trunk translation. So that's looking at you front to back.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at yourself from the side, you might need to take a selfie because it's hard to look in a
Right.
mirror that way.
Get
It's the
someone
same
else to.
principle.
Right.
You want your ear over your shoulder, over your hip, over your ankle, all in a straight line. Now, I do have to have one caveat with this because we can have great posture, but we also have to look at the spine, and the way you do that is through standing spinal x-rays. But again, if you don't have that, then the posture is a good indicator. It's a window to the spine
The
under
model, the
the
spine model,
spine.
look at that thing.
And if you're not seeing this on camera, just think about the spine. We want three balanced, even curves: one in the neck, one in the mid back, one in the low back, that balance each other out. So think about a stretched out S. That's what your spine should look like from the side. That gives your body, your spine, your body, the strength to withstand gravity, okay, and protect the spinal cord without it stretching. Now,
Right.
from the outside, we can see that. From the inside, to be more accurate, we use the x-rays. Now, to test how that is, you can also, all right, stand up against a wall, have your feet about the heels about 2 to 4 inches away, and have your hips, your mid back, and your head, all right, is your head pretty comfortably touching the wall? If you have to force it, that means one, you probably have forward head posture that's
Right.
getting stuck, I call it. And where's that coming from? It could be coming from the mid back, it could be coming from the low back. But that's another good measure of a good test to do is the wall test. If you lay on the floor, legs out, and you
Right.
have a hard time having your head against the
Oh,
floor.
I literally have had clients where their neck is so far forward that they
Yeah.
can't get their head on the ground and actually had to put a
Mhm.
pillow or it was an ab mat at the
Yeah.
time to support the neck because of the posture is so off. And then this person talk about bone on bone going overhead. If you're looking in the video, this was it. Not only was it way far away from the ear, but it was in front of the ear too. It's like he was doing an incline bench press trying to do shoulders. And we'll talk about some ways to solve this, but we took a lacrosse ball, just dug in there for a minute or two, and all of a sudden he was able to get a lot higher and back in a more neutral, natural position.
And it could be you mentioning that just jogged my memory of, okay, this can affect the shoulder function. Head forward, shoulders are rounded because the mid back is so curved, the shoulders just they mirror.
Right.
The mid back, the spine directs where the shoulders go and the head goes.
Oh, and
So
to
we have to
your shoulder positioning, what are some of the pain that someone's going to start feeling or the muscles that they need to start thinking about, say the rotator cuff and tendonitis?
Yep, they'll bursitis, tendonitis, impingement. Those are the kind of diagnosis that you'll get going. The labels I like to call them that you'll
Right.
get going to the a doctor, and they'll maybe give you some anti-inflammatories. But if it's coming from the structure, those anti-inflammatories is not going to fix the
Yeah,
structure. So
exactly. So
yeah, and
how do we fix it then?
yeah,
Some
that's
of the
those are
things
the Eaton
the meat and
method. So
potatoes are closest out here.
yeah,
Some of the actionable things that
hmm
people can walk away with of actually
yeah,
fixing some of the pain and postures without necessarily going to your doctor. Because you and I both, yes, go to we're not replacing a medical professional, but you and I both know that you should probably go see someone that has the credentials and that specializes in bone and anatomy and biomechanics because they're going to do corrective exercise and actions that are going to get you right back into playing the game, so to speak, rather than taking a 2 week timeout and taking NSAIDs, which aren't really going to help the
yeah.
actual issue.
Mhm.
Oh, I rested my bad shoulder positioning, but I start moving again, then the pain comes back.
Exactly. That's why I use what I call Eaton, EATN, and this is adapted from Chiropractic BioPhysics,
Yeah.
CBP. That's the corrective spinal technique that I do where we use exercises, adjustments, and I'll explain what adjustments are, traction, and nutrition. Start with exercise. Exercise isn't necessarily lifting weights or going for a run or a walk. I'm talking about corrective postural exercises. We've talked about shoulders a little bit, mid back and head forward. One of my favorite is called thoracic extension or thoracic mobility. If
Right.
we incorporate some rotation into it, it's it's best done sitting, but you can do yeah, I mean, I would say sitting, but you can do it standing. So sitting down, using it as a a break every 20 to 30 minutes if you're at your computer, if you're reading, if you're sitting down. You just clasp your hands in front of you and actually put it behind your head and neck. All right. If you're here in this position, you're going to take the elbows back, chest up, keep your head back.
Yeah, pushing against your
Squeezing,
hands, right?
yep, squeezing your shoulder blades together. So
Yeah.
that's the extension part. You could just start with that.
This is
Holding like
huge.
5
Real
holding
quick, what we're
5 to
feeling is that we're stretching the chest, and it's normally in a rounded, tightened position. We're stretching the
mhm,
chest, pinching and squeezing and causing the shoulders, the traps in the back to activate and get some blood flow going and squeeze, and then we're pushing our head into our hands to activate the neck musculature, which then
yeah.
increases more blood flow and gets that thing firing. And then when you come out of doing that a couple times, I feel a lot better.
And you mentioned blood flow a couple times. That's exactly what I feel when I do that. Just the circulation, just that little 5 to 10-second one right there, I can feel that.
Right.
So yeah, it's there and you can add rotation into it too, but you just can't.
Which will cause more stretch
Yeah,
and
but
opening
you
up.
can't don't let your body collapse. It's like a rod going right down through your spine and you're rotating. So that's one of my favorites there. So adjustment, as a chiropractor, I do like physical hands-on adjustments, but I also work with people virtually with spine health coaching. So I adapted it to adjust your lifestyle. So what are the things that we're doing throughout the day that is causing stress on our spine with how we sit, how we move, how we stand, how we bend. So one of the simplest things, hold your phone upright, okay? We all have one. I'm not getting rid of mine. It's very simple whether you're sitting or standing. Don't have it down at your hips. And it doesn't have to be like right in front of your face. Bend your elbows, get it up to at least chest level is at a
Chest to
minimum,
chin-ish, right
chest,
to
chin
neck
level.
level
So
maybe.
then, because we talked about it, every inch forward adds 10 pounds of stress and pressure
And we're
on
all
the
staring
spine.
at
So
our
that's
phones way too much these days.
and so that's on the couch, that's reading, that's on our laptop. So we do that. So that and also how you bend. I have 3 daughters and a wife. So things that
A
I always
ladies'
mention
man.
this one to really sink it in. How are you bending, not just with the heavy stuff, but with the repetitive things? And I mentioned my daughters and my wife because every time I go to the bathroom, and as men, every time I go to the bathroom, got to lift up and down the toilet seat. So again, how you bend using your hips to bend. That's just one of those repetitive things that we do every day, washing our hands. I just wanted to put that in as men in our heads. That's the adjustment part. Traction is the actual most important part, and I'm sorry to have to like just
Yeah, we
go
we we had some
go so
technical
fast,
difficulties on the front end.
but yes, uh, it's reshaping the ligaments of the spine. You need some sort of device typically, like we use these as home devices. They're called Denerols, not Demerol,
Yeah, you
but
lay
just
your
these,
head on it. It goes
yeah,
you
you
lay
lay
down
your
on your
neck on,
back, you
spinal remolding devices. And again, these are only used if we know what your posture and spine looks like
so don't
using,
just go buy one on
yeah,
Amazon and start breaking your
exactly.
head back or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That actually reforms the ligaments and helps the ligaments retrain themselves. Similar, again, the analogy is orthodontists, they fix the teeth with braces, right?
Right,
This is how we fix the spine.
right,
All right, because we can't just push on teeth to straighten them out. We have to
right.
hold it in that position over a period of time.
And
That's
the last one
traction.
is nutrition, which
Yeah.
I've covered a bunch on this podcast.
Yeah,
The
nutrition, I'm not even gonna
episode
go over.
5,
I'll
and
say smoothies are my favorite way to get the
yeah.
nutritional needs. Before we hopped on here, I did my workout, I had my smoothie. Again, put one tip, put double the vegetables in that you do the
Yes.
fruit.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's the eating method.
So, Dr. Ryan, we're running out of time. We didn't we had some technical difficulties on the front end. Just
Yeah.
got us here a little bit later than we wanted to, but the big takeaway, I love this the stretch, the hands behind the head, activating muscles. That's going to be huge. What are one or two things that you can give people to take away from this, and we'll wrap it up here in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanna download my spinal hygiene mini class, it's
Yeah.
still, again, it goes into a little bit more depth, just showing you how to do this spinal traction. the
Right.
exercises, the different adjustment to your lifestyle, and nutritional hydration type strategy. So
Yeah.
you can download that,
We'll have
no
that in the
charge
show
for
notes.
that. And then we can also meet if you want specific instructions, specific recommendations for you. We can meet on a virtual house call. I call it, where we meet on Zoom, just like how Brian and I are doing this.
This
We go
guy's
over your
been doing it
situation,
forever, so he
goals,
knows.
and everything. So
You can
yeah.
see it walking in the door, like, oh, I already know how to fix this person, right?
Yeah,
Well, Dr.
so again,
Ryan,
those links will be below, and yeah, go ahead and schedule that, download the mini class, and go from there.
I appreciate your time. This is episode 37, Driven for Health. Check the show notes to get in touch with Dr. Ryan, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.